Just let me share the link on the screen, which we have to read from. Sorry. Is the text visible on the screen?
Yes, it's
visible.
All right. One or two people are yet to join. Okay, Samir ji, Harsh, Archana, Arora ji, Shweta, Yogesh, Dhaval, and one more. Okay, we'll just play Mother's music tab tak. We'll wait just 2 more minutes, otherwise we'll start at 8:05. Sorry for the delay. Okay.
Hi, Anmol.
Hello.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is a little unstable because it's very windy here today. So I'll just see. I hope it'll be okay.
Yeah.
What page is this?
You have the book with you?
Yeah.
The page is 22.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
I think we'll start only. It's already 8:04. Okay. So, I mean, like always, we'll just read the previous paragraph for the connect and then we'll go to the next one from here, from the beginning of the Gita. Shweta, would you like to read? Shweta?
sure. Sure.
From the beginning of the Gita.
Okay. From the beginning of the Gita, this characteristic temperament of the disciple is clearly indicated and it is maintained throughout. It becomes first evident in the manner in which he is awakened to the sense of what he is doing, the great slaughter of which he is to be the chief instrument, in the thoughts which immediately rise in him, in the standpoint and the psychological motives which make him recoil from the whole terrible catastrophe. They are not the thoughts, the standpoint, the motives of a philosophical or even of a deeply reflective mind or a spiritual temperament confronted with the same or a similar problem. They are those, as we might say, of the practical or the pragmatic man, the emotional, sensational, moral, and intelligent human being, not habituated to profound and original reflection or any sounding of the depths, accustomed rather to high but fixed standards of thought and action, and a confident treading through all vicissitudes and difficulties, who now finds all his standards failing him and all the basis of his confidence in himself and his life shorn away from under him at a single stroke. This is the nature of the crisis which he undergoes.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, he's not the thinker, he's a man of action and somebody who is more of a practical bent of mind. He's not the contemplative or the sagely type of person. This is what we are being told here, right? We had covered this, sorry, at length last time. So who would like to read today's paragraph? Arjuna is in the language of the Gita. Samir ji, would you read? Please. यहाँ पे Arjuna is in the language of the Gita from here. छोटा है क्या? Should I increase the font?
No, I won't read because it is not coming
अच्छा.
I can
properly
read.
on my screen.
I can
Okay.
read it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Franchi, you
Anmol,
can.
can you zoom a little bit? One level, just one level if possible.
Now,
Yeah, better. Yeah, thank you.
Francesca, you can read, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Arjuna is, in the language of the Gita, a man subject to the action of the three gunas or modes of the nature force and habituated to move unquestioningly in that field, like the generality of men. He justifies his name only in being so far pure and sattvic as to be governed by high and clear principles and impulses and habitually control his lower nature by the noblest law which he knows. He is not of a violent asuric disposition, not the slave of his passions, but has been trained to a high calm and self-control, to an unswerving performance of his duties and firm obedience to the best principles of the time and society in which he has lived and the religion and ethics to which he has been brought up. He is egoistic like other men, but with the purer or sattvic egoism which regards the moral law and society and the claims of others, and not only or predominantly his own interests, desires, and passions. He has lived and guided himself by the Shastra, the moral and social code. The thought which preoccupies him, the standard which he obeys, is the Dharma, that collective Indian conception of the religious, social, and moral rule of conduct, and especially the rule of the station and function to which he belongs. He is the Kshatriya, the high-minded, self-governed, chivalrous prince and warrior and leader of Aryan men. Following always this rule, conscious of virtue and right dealing, he has traveled so far and finds suddenly that it has led him to become the protagonist of a terrific and unparalleled slaughter, a monstrous civil war involving all the cultured Aryan nations, which must lead to the complete destruction of the flower of their manhood and threatens their ordered civilization with chaos and collapse.
Yes, thank you. Okay, two more people have joined. Let me just see, who is it? Swati and Himanshu ji. Yogesh and Ritu Gandhi are yet to join. Okay, no issues. So now, Arjuna is, in the language of the Gita, a man subject to the action of the three gunas or modes of the nature force and habituated to move unquestioningly in that field, like the generality of men. Okay. So in the third chapter, the Gita says in verse number 27, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah. This is the first part of that verse. What it means is, very simply, it is the Prakriti composed of the three gunas or through the three gunas, which is actually doing everything. Okay. Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah. The translation given by Sri Aurobindo is, while the actions are being done entirely by the modes of nature. Another short quarter of a verse from the Gita, Guna guneshu vartante. It is the gunas which are moving within the gunas. Okay. This is the condition of almost everybody without exception. When one becomes more sattvic, then one realizes that this is how all of us are. And then the further goal of the Gita, to go beyond the gunas. To go beyond the gunas, जिसको गीता में बोलते हैं निस्त्रय गुण्य और गुणातीत. To go beyond the gunas, right? To become a conscious instrument ultimately of the Shakti, wherein comes the next part of this verse, Ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. Okay? Deluded by egoism, we think that we are the doer. So Arjuna he's having the sattvic ego, but nonetheless, he is in the bounds of ego. Therefore, it is the gunas which are operating in him. Okay? I might say here, since I am mentioning the gunas, it's a very powerful verse in the 18th chapter of the Gita, verse number 40. These can be noted down. Na tadasti prithivyam va divideveshu va punaha sattvam prakriti jair muktam yadebhe syat tribhir gunaihi. Very simply, it means that there is none either here or in heaven among the gods who is not subject to the action of the gunas. Okay, it's just to understand how deeply the life, basically जिसको त्रिलोक बोलते हैं, the lower hemisphere, mental, vital, physical worlds. I mean, deeply क्या मतलब? It is completely governed by the action of the gunas. Okay, so न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिविदेवेषु वा पुनः सत्वं प्रकृति जैर्मुक्तं यदेभिः स्यात् त्रिभिर् गुणैः. Even the Trimurti, the Shiva and Vishnu and Brahma, they are in the essays on the Gita. You will find कि उनका गुण बताया हुआ है. So the Brahma is said to be Rajasic, the creator. Okay, Vishnu is said to be Sattvic, and Shiva is said to be Tamasic. Right? I mean, at least I was not aware in this sense कि we think that they are completely beyond, but no. Even in heaven among the gods and even the highest gods, so far, as far as you can go, basically in the lower hemisphere, it is all subject to the gunas. So Arjuna is no exception. So Arjuna is a man subject to the action of the three gunas or modes of the nature and habituated to move unquestioningly in that field like the generality of men. Now, last time Yogesh had raised this question. Yes, please tell me, Dhavalji. Dhavalji, you had raised your hand.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking on mute. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
No
Continue.
worry. Yeah. So you just mentioned about Brahma, Rajasic, Vishnu, Sattvic, and Shiva, Tamasic.
Yeah.
And that's why in the folklore of Shiva, he's said to be residing in the Shramshana. Is that the reason? And he's with
Maybe,
the
yeah. Basically, I mean, he's associated with destruction. So Sattva is the guna of balance. Okay. Rajas is the guna of kinesis, action, creativity. Okay. Kriya. Create भी संस्कृत के क्री धातु से ही आता है. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly. And tamas is the destructive. Gita
In
mein
that
14th
sense.
chapter mein tamas is described as just the opposite of rajas and sattva. So aprakashah apravrittihi. For sattva, the single word, if you want to define it, is prakasha, light. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate. Jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattva. When from all the doors of the body you feel a light coming out, then you should know that the guna, sattva guna, is increasing in you. Okay, I don't remember the shloka number right now, but this is the shloka. So, and for rajas, it is pravrittihi. Pra, as you know, means forward. Vritti means basically a kind of motion. So going ahead. That is the second definition here. And tamas is the opposite of both. So it is defined aprakasho apravrittihi. Now usme prakash hai or now usme there is this impulse to act.
Correct. Okay. So that's why it's inert in that sense.
Yeah. Inert, yes. Inert in the sense of apravrittihi. There is no pravritti in the tamoguna.
Yeah, not unconscious in the sense of without devoid of consciousness.
And also, since we are taking the time to, dwell on gunas a little bit, important point to understand, why Gita says gunatita? Sattva gun mein rehne se kya problem hai? What is the problem? The problem is...
Anmol, before you move to that, there's this key line here which I want to elaborate if you can. Force and habituated to move unquestioningly in that field. That means even in sattva there is ignorance. Even
unquestioningly, because he is governed, as he said, by the standards.
And habit. See, that habit is there. Habit is a word where the
habit is basically tamasic. Habit is basically, in that sense, it is tamasic. Right. Nothing should be habitual. Everything should be conscious.
Exactly. Right. So sattva in that sense is also
ignorant. The sattvic man who is doing all the rituals, he is following all the religious practices, he's following all the dharma and this and that. But what if the dharma in that particular age has itself declined? What if your teachers were not enlightened enough to teach you what is the right thing to be done? All sorts of things can happen, right?
Correct, correct. And that is why Sri Aurobindo mentions, right, very clearly in his popular phrase, ego is a helper and ego is a bar. Because when even you reach sattva level also, then also that can also become a bar. So you have to transcend that,
That
right?
will come aage ja karke when he mentions the sattvic egoism in Arjuna.
Acha, acha. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Which is
Thank
coming
you. Thank
later
you.
in the paragraph.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, where is it? Yeah. So this last time Yogesh had raised the question about Arjuna's name and what does he mean, Satvik and all that. So here comes half humorous. He justifies his name. Arjuna, last में हमने पढ़ा था कि somebody called Kutsa from the Veda was there. His mother was Arjuna or Arjuni, who was in turn the child of Svitra, the white mother and all that. So basically the word Arjuna means white. Okay. हम जैसे counterpart बोलते हैं ना, नर नारायण. They are the counterparts, the human soul and the divine soul. Similarly, Krishna and Arjuna, if you see color wise and name wise, Krishna literally means dark and Arjuna literally means white. Literally, that is what they mean. Of course, for dark, that's the Varna wala meaning. Otherwise, the meaning of the word Krishna is the attractor, Akarshana.
Correct.
वो आ लगा करके, that is the
Karshayati iti
dhatu.
Krishna, right? Karshayati
Sorry?
iti Krishna. There is this short form, Karshayati iti Krishna.
Yeah. Same thing. Right? So now he justifies, Arjuna justifies his name only in being so far pure and sattvic. And I told K Shweta Shwatra Upanishad mein, I had even posted that verse कि the red color is used for rajas. वहां पे वो color वालर करके नहीं दिया था, but in the prakriti of the three gunas was defined in that way. So ekam, there is one unborn, ajam ekam करके. So sattva was assigned, basically you can say the color white, rajas red, and tamas black. All right. So Arjuna justifies his name only in being so far pure and sattvic as to be governed by high and clear principles and impulses and habitually control his lower nature by the noblest law which he knows. Okay. This is how he justifies his name, Arjuna. Somebody who is dominated by the sattva. He is not impulsive like Duryodhan. वो मन में आया तो वो जंगल में जाके he's even raping somebody. Mahabharat mein they show he tries to outrage the modesty of a woman, and when he is captured by the woman's brothers, then the Pandavas come to his rescue. And all the time, I mean, I need not say how impulsive or how rajasically he was acting. And इसमें एक आएगा where Krishna reassures Arjuna that you are not of that kind of nature. Okay, I'll tell that verse. So in fact, this is the next sentence. He is not of a violent asuric disposition. Okay. This is verse number 16.5 from the Gita, where Krishna says this explicitly, where the two types of nature are defined. Okay. Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata. The Daivi nature, it liberates you. Whereas the Asuri nature, it has the tendency to bind you. Nibandhaya surimata ma shuchak sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. You do not grieve. There is no need for you to grieve because you are born in the Deva nature. The translation by Sri Aurobindo is what is given in the book Message of the Gita. Grieve not, thou art born in the Deva nature, O Pandava. 16.5. Okay. So this is the Gita reference for this. So he is not of a violent. Arey yaar, 1 minute. Why are you not able to connect? 1 second. Everyone is using this link. Okay. So he is not of a violent asuric disposition, not the slave of his passions, but has been trained to a high calm and self-control, to an unswerving performance of his duties, and firm obedience to the best principles of the time and society in which he has lived and the religion and ethics to which he has been brought up. We should remember here the context that he is a prince, or he's a Rajkumar of actually the most powerful kingdom of that time. So naturally he has gotten the right kind of education and all that. All these things he knows. And of course, through his past evolution and everything, he has the right idea about dharma. Why I'm saying this is a lot of people do not have this much idea because there is hardly any genuine swadhyaya of shastras or taking the time out to listen. This group is different, but I generally say, okay, even this kind of basic idea of dharma, it can sometimes be found lacking in people, right? So, and again, question comes that how Arjuna made himself fit to be the recipient of the Gita. These are all his qualifications, basically. Yes, please. Yes, Dhavalji.
Sorry, Anmol, one more question here.
No problem. बोलिए.
You see, the reason the way I read this paragraph, right, or rather I understood is that this is even the level at which most of the humanity is, that under the circumstances, right, like which are not in of that of the Gita, we think we are in calm and self-control and so on and so forth. But when we are placed in the similar context, I think action overrides anything. I mean, because action precedes clarity. Because after we do the action, the thought, the meaning of action becomes very clear. Until then, at least I am like, sorry to make it personal, but
नहीं, that is why immense importance of consciously cultivating the sattva guna in us. Consciously cultivating the sattva guna. I mean, a lot of the people who we regard as spiritual men, and all that, they are basically sattvic people. They may not have attained fully to a spiritual consciousness, but yes, they are being governed primarily by the sattva guna. Again, in some cases, even not that. But we are not here to comment on that. So the point that you have made is very valid. That even the sattva guna is not achaha. Ek jo mera reh gaya tha because of the interruption. So why the necessity of going gunatita? Kya zarurat hai? Why is sattva not sufficient? For the very simple reason that any of the three gunas can overpower the other two at any given moment of time. Okay. At any moment, tamas can overpower sattva and rajas, and you don't know what to do and you feel not like acting and everything. And same can happen for rajas and same can happen for sattva. There is a shloka in the 14th chapter. I'm just seeing if fast I can bring that out. I mean, all these, आपकी मेहनत बच जाएगी.
Yeah, this is a very, very valid point, Anmol, that you're making. Actually, during the day itself, if you cross-examine, one goes through these in a different hours also, not necessarily.
Yeah. अभी मुझे नहीं मिल रहा है, but it's somewhere in the 14th chapter, where in one amazing verse, they tell how the sattva can dominate rajas and tamas, how at other times rajas can dominate sattva and this thing, and the third one, sattva can dominate rajas and tamas, like that. Okay, so continuing. He is egoistic like other men, but with the pure or sattvic egoism, which regards the moral law. Which regards the moral law and society and the claims of others, and not only or predominantly his own interests, desires, and passions. Now, since he had mentioned sattvic egoism, and I thought that this might require elaboration, so I had noted down this verse from the Gita 14.6, where the limitations of sattva guna are told. It says, Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakamanayam sukha sangena badhnati. Sattva attaches by, it binds by attachment to knowledge and attachment to happiness. Attachment to knowledge ka one very simple is what is called Shastra Vasana. So what can happen is one can just read and read and read and read and read and read and read, but not actually put so much into practice. तो उससे क्या होता है, इसको शास्त्र वासना कहते हैं. एंड दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ सात्विक ईगो, दिस अटैचमेंट टू नॉलेज, कि आप बस इंटेलेक्चुअल नॉलेज से अटैच होकर के अपने माइंड को भरे जा रहे हैं उन आइडियाज से, बट यार द एम इज टू गो बियॉन्ड दैट एंड द एम इज टू यूनाइट with that consciousness from where these shastras are being given. Okay, so this is how sattva binds.
Excellent, Anmol.
Sukha sangena badhnati jnana sangena chanana, by attachment to sukha and by attachment to jnana. Okay, sukha matlab obviously if you read something you will get a kind of sattvic pleasure, but you become so addicted to that pleasure, it can you can watch videos, वो स्पिरिचुअल वीडियोस देखने का सारा चल रहा है, बुक्स पढ़ रहे हैं दिन में 3-3, 4-4 घंटे, 5-5 घंटे, बट एक्चुअल जो प्रोग्रेस है, चेंज ऑफ नेचर, ऐसा नहीं है कि these things are useless, not at all. They also help to refine the nature. The more you dwell in sattva guna, the better it is. The better it is, sorry. But you can just remain stuck there. The right word in English is complacency. Complacency. Feeling that I am doing exactly what needs to be done. There is nothing more that I need to do. Right? So this is the kind of sattvic egoism. This can trap you. Arjun bhi to yahi hai. All the arguments that he gives in the first chapter, they appear so fine. Arey wow, he's such a good man. He doesn't want to kill his relatives. All that.
That
You
is why
know?
Shri Krishna says pragna vadanscha bhashase.
Exactly. Before that, he calls him an impotent. He
Ah.
said, don't talk like a hijda. Don't talk like a kleb. Klebhyam masma gamah partha. The
Gamah
first
partha,
thing
yeah.
he hits him, it's a very, very strong word. And imagine a kshatriya like Arjuna. Usko aisa bolne ka, kleb bol rahe hain usko. Klebhyam masma ka. Do not yield to unmanliness, O Partha. Right? Yes.
So,
Klebhyam masma gamah.
Anmol, can you please repeat that verse number? I just missed it out.
14.6. 14.6.
Limitation, right?
Yes. Sattva ka. How sattva binds you.
Okay, and also I'm reminded of mother's phrase, to know is good, to live is better, and to be,
That is the best.
that is perfect, she
If you
says.
could kindly share that on the group, it's a very appropriate quotation.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. Summarizes what I was saying very beautifully.
Yeah.
See, this is the greatness of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. In just one pithy sentence, they can summarize, sometimes even volumes. So, okay, we move further. He is egoistic like other men, but with the purer or sattvic egoism, which regards the moral law and so on. He has lived and guided himself by the Shastra, the moral and social code. Okay. Now, explicitly, I को मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा referencing कर रहा हूँ, but it जरूरी है. Jaruri in the sense, at least it will help you to find those relevant verses in the Gita fast. The last two verses of the 16th chapter, they almost bind you to follow the Shastra and follow it unquestioningly. Of course, the Mahavakya mein, the Gita liberates you from itself also. Ki sarv dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. But before that, 16th chapter ke jo last two verses hai, it's already almost, should I say the verses or just telling the numbers is enough?
Maybe you can just tell the numbers and we'll refer as homework.
16.23 and 16.24. This is regarding the absolute importance of following the Shastra, not thinking that you are already too wise and therefore you have no need for Shastra. Okay. 16th chapter ke last two verses.
Okay.
All right. The moral and social code. The thought which preoccupies him, the standard which he obeys is the dharma. Dharma ki definition, that collective Indian conception of the religious, social and moral rule of conduct, and especially the rule of the station and function to which he belongs. He, the Kshatriya, the high-minded, self-governed, chivalrous prince and warrior and leader of Aryan men. All right. So in this book itself, Sri Aurobindo gives the one more and clear meaning of dharma, wherein he says, dharma is that by which, a footnote mein hai, yes, here. Is this footnote visible? This one.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Dharma means literally that which one lays hold of, जिसको हम पकड़ते हैं, and which holds things together. That which keeps everything together. Okay. The law, the norm, the rule of action, sorry, the rule of nature, action and life. The dhatu is dhri.
Dhri.
Dha, halant ke saath dha, followed by ri, the fourth vowel. A, E, U and ri. Okay. It is the same, interestingly now, this is the beauty of Sanskrit. It is the same dhatu as it is for, let's say, dhara. धरती अपने ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स के द्वारा सारी चीजों को पकड़ के रखती है. ओके.
करेक्ट.
परसिस्टेंस के लिए द वर्ड फॉर परसिस्टेंस धृति. ओके. ऑल दीज आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द सेम धातु धृ.
Even Anmol, even dhana and dhairya, they also come from here only.
Dhairya would be coming from that. Which was the other word, sir?
Dhana.
नहीं, धन कैसे आ जाएगा? धन में री कहाँ है? Where is the री in that?
Oh, okay. But Shri, according to that philological volume, the volume 7.
No, I'll tell you. What you are confusing with? You are confusing it with the word rishi.
Okay.
उसमें the vowel ri, it means to attain. तो जिसने प्राप्त कर लिया है उसको ऋषि कहते थे. नाउ इट डिपेंड्स कि आपकी प्राप्त करने की डेफिनेशन क्या है, क्या प्राप्त किया है।
Okay.
अगर किसी ने धन प्राप्त कर लिया है तो इंग्लिश का जो वर्ड रिच है, विच फॉलोज फ्रॉम द वर्ड, एक्चुअली ऋषि जो है वो जाकर के रीच बनता है फ्रेंच में, RICHE, एंड फ्रॉम देयर यू गेट द इंग्लिश वर्ड रिच। दैट इज द लिंक। एक्चुअली आई थिंक मे बी यू कंफ्यूजिंग विद दैट। वो
Okay.
हिम्स टू द मिस्टिक फायर में है।
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That helps.
हाँ,
Yeah.
दैट इज द वन, दैट इज द वन। आप प्लीज मुझे रिमाइंड करा दीजिएगा, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो मैं शेयर कर दूंगा बाद में ग्रुप पे कि
हाँ,
व्हाट इज
no,
दैट एग्जैक्ट टेक्स्ट ऑफ शिवबंधु।
no,
ऑलराइट,
no problem. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
ऑलराइट। So we go back to the this thing. Kshatriya, yeah. Kshatriya, the high-minded, chivalrous prince and warrior and leader of Aryan men. So now in the second chapter, there are these verses when Krishna first tries to convince him by the Jnana Yogic method. And then when, he feels ki I need to cater to his Kshatriya dharma. So then he tells ki if you do not fight, then these people will laugh at you. And what is the duty of a Kshatriya? To lay down your life in battle. All those verses are there in the second chapter. I'm just telling the numbers. Sorry, a lot of referencing happening, but I mean, what to do? Essential bhi hai aur ek tarah se wo. I know the text is broken, the essays on the Gita slightly. Yeah, 2.31 to 2.37. The ideal of the Kshatriya, the Aryan fighter. This is one. Those who want to note down can note down. 2.31 to 2.37. The other which is there for the Kshatriya Dharma, that is there in chapter 18, that is 18.43. Okay. Shauryam tejo dhritir dakshyam yuddhe chapya palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha kshatram karma svabhavajam. That is 18.43. Okay. So without further delay, following always this rule, conscious of virtue and right dealing, he has traveled so far and finds suddenly that it has led him to become the protagonist of a terrific and unparalleled slaughter. A monstrous civil war involving all the cultured Aryan nations, which must lead to the complete destruction of the flower of their manhood and threatens their ordered civilization with chaos and collapse. This is the second part of the first chapter, where he says कि अगर वर्ण संकर हो जाएगा, then what will happen, and then the dharmas will be lost and all that. So that is the reference. 1.38 to 1.42, but like basically exact words नहीं मिलेंगे, but some of these ideas you can find in these verses, 1.38 to 1.42. Yes, sir, tell me.
So basically, if I were to summarize and put a comment to this whole last thing, morality has become a dead-end street for Arjun.
Exactly.
Yes, because
Exactly.
I think
Simply
this,
the moral law is now insufficient.
now what to do? Now
Higher
because
law by which this divine action can be done via him, by
yeah,
following it.
I think we all have, I mean, a lot of people must have passed through this in their life.
And actually, the fact of the matter is
This
that
is-
most of the people, even their moral level is not so high. Mother says in the agenda, for example, you have to give up spirituality for something higher than, you have to give up morality for something higher than morality, not for something in the name of spirituality. Sometimes people are so deluded that they give up, they give even basic morality ko wo chhod dete, thinking that they are Krishna, they can act like him.
or the other extreme happens.
Injunction hai.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll let you speak.
Go,
Which is
yeah.
why the absolute injunction of the Gita in the last two verses of the 16th chapter कि भैया शास्त्र को follow करो, अगर शास्त्र को follow नहीं करोगे, you will fall into the asuric nature and you will go further down and down in the evolution.
I see. So that's where the lower line is dropped.
गुणों का जो verses था. So there is one verse in the 14th chapter where it clearly says, ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः, मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः, जघन्य गुणवृत्तिस्थाः, अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. Those who dwell in the sattva guna, they go up. Okay. Those who are predominantly in the rajo guna, they remain in the middle. And those who are following, those who are, attached to the tamo guna, they go further down. Clearly it says.
Can you
There is
repeat
no
that verse number? Sorry.
ऊर्ध्वम, I didn't tell the verse number so far. I'm just looking for it. वो मैंने note नहीं किया था. 14th chapter, verse number 18. ऊर्ध्वम गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था, मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा, जघन्य गुणवृत्तिस्था, अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा. Even, from the sound itself, you can feel the power in Krishna's, kind of warning.
Yeah.
मैंने पहले ग्रुप पे 3 warnings डाले थे, 3 messages. 3 verses from the Gita where I said that the Lord warns you. This can also be considered as a semi-warning. Ki attachment to the tamoguna can lead to further going down and to destruction of your, at least a big delay in your further. Ultimately, the goal is the divine only. Nobody has any other final destination except the divine. This is 10.20 में clearly बोला गया है. Aham adishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha.
Antevacha,
I am the
yeah.
beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Okay? But we should not confuse the ultimate with the immediate. Okay? So now
Wonderful.
finally we have managed to complete this paragraph after half an hour. Doesn't matter.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I had questions, so I kept
Yeah,
you.
no issues, no
holding
issues.
on issues.
Anybody else has any questions or anything to say so far ke liye? Yeah, shall we read the next one? Some other people have also joined. Who would like to read? Himanshu ji, would you like to read the next paragraph? Yogesh bhai?
Yeah, it starts from it is typical, right?
No. The first result. Yes, it is typical. I'm sorry. It is typical. Do you need me to increase the font?
No, it's fine.
Okay, please.
It is typical again of the pragmatic man that it is through his sensations that he awakens to the meaning of his action. He has asked his friend and charioteer to place him between the two armies, not with any profounder idea, but with the proud intention of viewing and looking in the face these myriad of the champions of unrighteousness, whom he has to meet and conquer and slay in this holiday of fight, so that the right may prevail. It is as he gazes that the revelation of the meaning of a civil and domestic war comes home to him. A war in which not only men of the same race, the same nation, the same clan, but those of the same family and household stand upon opposite sides. All whom the social man holds most dear and sacred, he must meet as enemies and slay. The worship teacher and preceptor, the old friend, comrade, and companion in arms, grandsires, uncles, those who stood in the relation to him of father, of son, of grandson, connections by blood and connections by marriage, all these social ties have to be cut asunder by the sword. It is not that he did not know these things before, but he has never realized it all. Obsessed by his claims and wrongs and by the principles of his life, the struggle for the right, the duty of the Kshatriya to protect justice, and the law and fight and beat down injustice and lawless violence, he has neither thought it out deeply nor felt it in his heart at the core of his life. And now it is shown to his vision by the divine charioteer placed sensationally before his eyes, and comes home to him like a blow delivered at the very center of his sensational, vital, and emotional being.
Right. Thank you. So, it is typical again of the pragmatic man, the man of action, okay? That it is through his sensations that he awakens to the meaning of his action. जैसे धवल जी ने बोला था कि many times, we jump into the action without thinking. And when we are right in the middle of it, then we realize, oh my God, what is this that I have, what I'm up to, right? That is the nature of the pragmatic man. He has asked his friend and charioteer to place him between the two armies. The verse for this is 1.21. Okay. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapaya mechyuta yavadetan niriksheham yodhu kaman avasthita. Okay. 1.21. This is the verse where he says, place my chariot between the two armies. Senayoh ubhayoh. Ubhayo means both. Senayor ubhayor madhye, in the middle. Ratham sthapaya me achyuta. Hey Achyuta, place my ratha, my chariot, in between the two armies. Yavadetan niriksheham yodhu kaman avasthitan. From where I can see, मैं निरीक्षण कर सकूं कि कौन मुझसे लड़ने आया. Who has come to fight me? All right.
So,
Between the two
Anmol
armies.
ji, One question here.
Yes.
Here Krishna is referred, Shri Krishna is referred by Achyuta.
Achyuta.
Is it on purpose that Achyuta means untouched.
Achyuta means infallible.
Oh, infallible, not untouched.
नहीं, च्युत, पदच्युत बोलते हैं ना कि अपने पद से गिर गए. So च्युत means to fall. So achyuta means infallible. In fact, it is one of the 3 words by which Krishna gets enlightenment from the Rishi Ghora Angirasa in the Chandogya Upanishad. Achyutam asi, akshitam asi, prana samshitam asi. So you are infallible, you are indestructible, and you are that which is the source of all energy, basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
achyutam means infallible. Now, I mean, I can't find the correlation. There are people who do this kind of research and it is revealed to them. अभी तक मुझे आया नहीं है. If it comes, then I'll say.
No, it just struck me right now
See,
because
sometimes
here-
also I might say, for the sake of the meter, अनुष्टुप में fit करने के लिए sometimes a certain name is chosen.
Oh, okay.
I think always it was not possible to get the spiritually or the psychologically right name of Arjuna and Krishna. Sometimes I get the impression, especially in the latest chapters, that it is for the sake of the meter that a certain name is being used.
I see. Because I thought this paragraph here, he's moved through emotions.
For
Therefore,
example, in the same verse, Arjuna would be called Bharata, which you know, you're a descendant of Bharata, but Bharata literally means you who जो light में रमता है,
right,
जो
right,
घा में
right.
रथ होता है. And in the
हाँ.
same, he's called Pandava. What does Pandava mean except that he is the son of Pandu, right? तो
Hmm.
अगर उस वर्ष का ये प्रयोजन होता कि भारत नाम से उसके अंदर कोई qualities जगानी है or some such thing, then why would there be 2 names, you know, and several times Madhusudana, Arisudana, like that. So I mean, I don't have that level of deep scholarship, but I am pretty sure that at certain places the names are chosen for the sake of the meter. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we should
okay.
not create too much of a superstition in our mind. वो बाल की खाल निकालने में लगे कि यार गीता में इस वाले श्लोक में अच्युत दिया है तो वो इसीलिए दिया होगा और जब तक मुझे समझ में नहीं आ जाएगा तब तक मैं आगे नहीं बढ़ूंगा. That would
Yeah.
be actually to defeat the purpose of the book.
Okay.
The purpose of the book is far higher. मैं आपके
Yeah, yeah,
क्वेश्चन
yeah.
को चैलेंज नहीं कर रहा हूं या वो कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट नहीं
No,
कर
no,
रहा,
no, no,
but I'm
no.
simply saying कि
Yeah.
you know, this kind of nitpicking, it basically does not lead you, कोई ज्यादा से फायदा नहीं होता. It's a kind of time pass. वही it's a kind of सात्विक ego. देखो मैं तो गीता के साथ engage कर रहा हूं. See, I am trying to find out, but this is not really what it is really, right? Maybe
No,
this
that's
kind of
why Sri Aurobindo says
contemplative
the
activity
actual
can also
language.
lead you
Huh.
deeper to
Yeah.
each his own. Ultimately, in yoga, there is only one golden rule: to each his own. जिसको जो सूट करता है उसको वो whole heartedly करना चाहिए.
I thought there is some insight into this word.
नहीं, I don't.
The context of the
I don't.
paragraph.
Yeah, I had not thought of this point. Just I am saying this because I have seen it.
अच्छा, अच्छा.
Once I was told by somebody that he had just memorized the full entire first chapter और वो उसी को रोज recite करता था. He thought that he was doing a very good sadhana. अब first chapter को recite करने से all you get is basically a kind of Sanskrit recitation की energy. Otherwise, there is hardly any spiritual content in the first chapter.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does not make sense. It's just a kind of feeding your sattvic egoism.
Yeah. And
Right.
even Sri Aurobindo warns of this, right? In the second paragraph of this chapter itself.
Exactly. There he warns about it, right? So we
Yeah.
move further. So he has asked his this thing, but not with any profounder idea. There is his pragmatic nature, his kshatriya nature, that is being pointed out. Not with any profounder idea. दोनों उसके बीच में रखने का कोई बहुत deep thinking नहीं है. It's not very profound idea by which he is moved, okay? But with the proud intention. क्षत्रिय है, but with the proud, मैं भी तो देखो मुझसे लड़ने कौन आया है. But with the proud intention of viewing and looking in the face these myriads of the champions of unrighteousness whom he has to meet and conquer and slay in this holiday of fight. Okay, so holiday of fight is obviously a noun here, but in the first verse of the Gita itself, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. So that word Yuyutsavaha, that roughly can be taken to mean holiday of fight. हालांकि there it is used as an adjective. Okay, संस्कृत में obviously adjective और noun वो same उसमें विभक्ति चलती है. The cases are the same for them, but युयुत्सवः is the 1.1 में है. Yeah, in this holiday of fight, this is the word that I have found in the Gita so far for this English phrase. But look at in this holiday of fight, this was the nature of the Kshatriyas of that time, right? I mean, even this time around when this Operation Sindhu was happening, so जो Navy था, they were saying यार हमको कुछ करने का मौका नहीं मिला. The Army got a chance and the Air Force got such a big chance, but the Navy didn't. So, you know, that is the nature of the Kshatriya. For them, it is like that. You know, okay. So that the right may prevail. Okay. It is as he gazes that the revelation of the meaning of a civil and domestic war comes home to him. You know, he starts having a nervous breakdown. उसका गला सूखने लगता है. His limbs start trembling, and he starts, you know, all those verses are there in the first chapter. Mainly तो यही है. तीन चरण के. He has compan in his body. His throat starts parching, drying up, and he basically loses his mind. He gets a kind of nervous breakdown. The word is not inappropriate for Arjuna's condition, though it is a modern.
So basically, we can say that here his vital got attacked by the sight.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
hmm.
पूरा इसमें भी वो उसका जो detail में what part of his get attacks that comes in the next para. I
अच्छा,
thought of
अच्छा.
covering these 3 paras in today's class. So let's try if we can do that. We have around 18 minutes remaining. We had started at around 8:05. All right. So in this holiday of fight, so that the right may prevail, it is as he gazes that comes to him a war in which not only men of the same race, the same nation, the same clan, but those of the same family and household stand upon opposite sides. I mean, it's not easy to, you know, it's सोचना पढ़ना imagine करना एक बात है, but if this kind of thing were to happen to us, would we be able to do that? I know the stark circumstance in which the Gita is given. In the last class, we had read this phrase, he is initiated on the battlefield. Normally, an initiation takes place in a peaceful surrounding. But Arjuna, the disciple, he gets initiated on the battlefield. Right? So, इसके लिए जो verses मैंने side में note किया, there is 1.33 and 1.34 for the corresponding verses from the first chapter of the Gita. All right? Tayameva sthita yuddhe pranans tyaktva dhanani cha. All that. Right? All whom the social man holds most dear and sacred, he must meet as enemies and slay. Now the verses are given here, 1.26 to 1.31. The worship teacher and preceptor, the old friend, comrade, and companion in arms, grandsires, uncles, those who stood in the relation to him of father, of son, of grandson, connections by blood and connections by marriage. All these social ties have to be cut asunder by the sword. Right? So these are the verses. Tatra pashyat sthitan parthaha pitrun atha pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrun putran pautran sakhins tatha shvashuran suhrudaschaiva senayorubhayorapi तान समीक्षा सकौन्तेयः सर्वान बंधून अवस्थितान. उसके सारे बंधु वहां अवस्थित हैं, प्रेजेंट हैं. ठीक है. कृपया परयाविष्टो विशीदन इदम अब्रवीत. And then दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनम कृष्ण युयुत्सुम समुपस्थितम सीदंति मम गात्राणि मुखम च परिशुष्यति. गात्राणि means the limbs. सीदंति, they are sinking. वो गिरे पड़ रहे हैं. I am feeling as if मेरा, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, हमारा शरीर गिरा जा रहा है. सीदंति मम गात्राणि मुखम च परिशुष्यति. वे पथुश्च शरीरे में, my body is trembling. वे पथुश्च शरीरे में रोम हर्षश्च जायते. This is not the kind of rom harshan which happens in devotion. This is the opposite kind of rom harshan. Okay. Gandivam samsate hastat tvakchaiva paridakhyate. My gandiva is following from my shoulder and my skin is burning, he says. Right? Nacha shaknomya vastatum brahmati vachame manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I see ill omens. निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि. मुझे विपरीत निमित्त दिखाई दे रहे. Right? न च श्रेयोनु पश्यामि and all that it goes on. Okay. The worship teacher, ये सारा हमने पढ़ लिया. It is not that he did not know these things before, but he has never realized it all. सब उसको पहले पता था. But when he is there, ये होता है. This is how the inner controller controls us from within. When the moment comes, when this kind of revelation has to happen or this kind of great work has to be done, exactly at that moment realize, and मौके पर जिसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में, exactly at that critical moment we realize the magnitude of what we are up against, what we are, you know, having to do. Okay. So I'm sorry.
No amount of war games also helps.
Yeah, nothing basically.
Nothing because
only the knowledge of the Gita, only the, you know, sthita pragya जिसको कहते हैं गीता में, second chapter mein. That kind of being stable in the knowledge, only that will come to your rescue. Otherwise, the action actually will not be such an enlightened action. You might do it in the spur of the moment, but later on you will regret. You might regret. Okay. Obsessed by his claims and wrongs and by the principles of his life, the struggle for the right, the duty of the Kshatriya to protect justice and the law and fight and beat down injustice and lawless violence. He has neither thought it out deeply nor felt it in his heart and at the core of his life. He's not a man of, he's not a thinker basically. So he has never thought it out deeply. उसने कभी इतना गहराई से सोचा नहीं. He's a, he's a hero, he's a warrior, he's a kshatriya, he's a prince. He has the social law, the moral law. He's governed by the sattva, but that's about it. In such a situation, and pura wo first chapter mein, the way he describes, by killing these people, the whole purpose is defeated, he says, right? And now it is shown to his vision by the divine charioteer, placed sensationally before his eyes, and comes home to him like a blow delivered at the very center of his sensational, vital, and emotional being. Now, here I cannot but refer to the Bengali writings of Sri Aurobindo on the Gita. I'm not going to open that here, but basically what he says is that Krishna, he puts the spell of what he calls his Vaishnavi Maya on Arjuna. He puts the spell of his Vaishnavi. This is Sri Aurobindo's commentary over there, comments over there. That वो अर्जुन के ऊपर है वैष्णव. Otherwise, such a hero, जो इतना बड़ा warrior and सब कुछ है, it's sometimes ठीक है, the arguments and all that are given are very appropriate and everything, but still you feel sometimes कि why this happened to him. So to decode this, he says that he fell under the spell of that, and it was deliberately put on him so that the teaching of the Gita could be given to him and by him to humanity. Okay, so this was just one last point regarding this. This is there in the Bengali writings. I will share that quotation later on in the group. अभी इसमें जाएंगे तो उसमें ज़्यादा time लग जाएगा. Is that fine? Okay. So I guess these are relatively simple. इसमें कोई ज़्यादा कोई बहुत profound नहीं है. We have around 10-11 minutes remaining. We can at least read the next paragraph. Yeah. The first result is a violent, sensational, and physical crisis. Yeah, in this, the 3 stages are given, 3 or 4 stages in which this happens to Arjuna. So, who would like to read? Shweta has read, Dhavalji has read, Francesca has read. Archana ji, would you like to read? Yogesh has read.
Yeah, I can.
Himanshu ji, Archana ji will read. Yeah, please.
The first result is a violent, sensational, and physical crisis, which produces a disgust of the action and its material objects and of life itself. He rejects the vital aim pursued by egoistic humanity in its action, happiness and enjoyment. He rejects the vital aim of the Kshatriya, victory and rule and power and the government of men. What, after all, is this fight for? What, after all, is this fight for justice when reduced to its practical terms? But just this, a fight for the interests of himself, his brothers, and his party, for possession and enjoyment and rule? But at such a cost, these things are not worth having, for they are of no value in themselves, but only as a means to the right maintenance of social and national life. And it is these very aims that, in the person of his kin and his race, he is about to destroy. And then comes the cry of the emotions. These are they whose sake life and happiness are desired, our own people. Who would consent to slay these for the sake of all earth, or even for the kingdom of the 3 worlds? What pleasure can there be in life? What happiness, what satisfaction in oneself after such a deed? The whole thing is a dreadful sin, for now the moral sense awakens to justify the revolt of the sensations and the emotions. It is a sin There is no right nor justice in mutual slaughter, especially are those who are to be slain the natural objects of reverence and of love, those without whom one would not care to live, and to violate these sacred feelings can be no virtue, can be nothing but a heinous crime. Granted that the offense, the aggression, the first sin, the crimes of greed and selfish passion which have brought things to such a pass came from the other side, yet armed resistance to wrong under such circumstances would be itself a sin and crime worse than theirs, because they are blinded by passion and unconscious guilt, while on this side it would be with a clear sense of guilt that the sin would be committed. And for what? For the maintenance of family morality, of the social law, and the law of nation. These are the very standards that will be destroyed by this civil war. The family itself will be brought to the point of annihilation, corruption of morals, and laws of the purity of race will be endangered. The eternal laws of the race.
Engendered.
Sorry.
No.
The laws of the purity of race will be engendered. The eternal laws of the race and moral law of the family will be destroyed. Ruin of the race, the collapse of its high traditions, ethical degradation, and hell for the authors of such a crime. These are the only practical results possible of this monstrous civil strife. Therefore, cries Arjuna, casting down the divine bow and inexhaustible quiver given to him by the gods for that tremendous hour. It is more for my welfare that the sons of Dhritarashtra armed should slay me unarmed and unresisting. I will not fight.
Yeah. Basically, in this paragraph, he gives the three stages in which that crisis comes upon him. First is the sensational and physical crisis. Second is the cry of the emotions. And third, his moral sense awakens. So this is like the knowledge point in this paragraph. I'll just read it. Nothing very difficult here. So the first result is a violent, sensational and physical crisis. मैंने बताया the nature of the physical crisis. His skin is burning. He's having a throat, this thing parching up and all that. Okay, which produces a disgust of the action and its material objects and of life itself. He rejects the vital aim pursued by egoistic humanity in its action. Yeah, the verses are given here. People can refer this later on. Happiness and enjoyment. He rejects the vital aim of the Kshatriya, victory and rule and power, and the government of men. So, yes, it was the aim of the Kshatriya to expand his territory. And whatever he considered was dharma, to bring that territory under the ambit of that dharma. This was the concept of samrat, emperor. Okay, every Kshatriya worth his while, would not want to leave his body before he had expanded his borders from the previous ancestor. This was the norm in those days. So you find Arjuna going for a क्या बोलते हैं उसको, Digvijay in the Mahabharata, Karna on the behalf of Duryodhana going for that, and all those kind of things, right? What after all is this fight for justice when reduced to its practical terms, but just this, a fight for the interests of himself, his brothers and his party, for possession and enjoyment and rule, but at such a cost. He calls them blood-stained enjoyments. Bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. I think in the second chapter somewhere, right? So, but at such a cost, these things are not worth having, for they are of no value in themselves, but only as a means to the right maintenance of social and national life. And it is these very aims that in the person of his kin and his race, he is about to destroy. Okay. And then comes the cry of the emotions. So the first part is the sensational and physical cry, sensational and physical crisis. Then comes the cry of the emotions. These are they for whose sake life and happiness are desired. our own people, Swajanam. The verse is 1.36. Okay. यहाँ पे 28 दिया है for some reason, maybe अगले का होगा या उसमें भी हो सकता है स्वजनम ही कथम हत्वा, like that. Who would consent to slay these for the sake of all the earth, or even for the kingdom of the three worlds? Api trailokya rajyasya hetoh kim nu mahi krite. This is the phrase. Okay. Even for the three worlds. The three worlds, for those in Sri Aurobindo to know, what does this Triloka ultimately mean? This means the physical, vital, and the mental domains. ये कोई mystical या कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है. We are all embodying that Triloka. We are having a mind, we are having a vital, and we are having a body. So basically, Vijay over the Triloka ultimately means complete Vijay over this, the mind, the life, mind, life, body complex. This is the psychological definition of Triloka. Very important to understand from the point of view of yoga, right? What pleasure, but here obviously it means those other worlds. You have earned your right to go to those higher worlds. You have earned your right in the Taittiriya Upanishad, for example. These levels of evolution are given. So the simple Manushya, then the Manushya Gandharva, then Deva Gandharva, then Pitru, then something, then Deva, then Indra, then Brihaspati, then Prajapati, and finally the Brahman. So this is how from life to life you rise to a higher and higher plane. You become deserving of a higher and higher world. Gita mein also the mention of these things comes. Ushitva, Shuchinam Shrimatam, Prapya Punya Kritam Lokan, you attain to the worlds of righteous and all these things. This is what it means basically. Okay. What pleasure can there be in life? What happiness? What satisfaction in oneself after such a deed? The whole thing is a dreadful sin. For now, the third thing, the moral sense awakens to justify the revolt of the sensations and the emotions. What most of us, a lot of us actually find ourselves doing. We bring in the mental and the moral element to support the sensations and the emotions. Whether they are right or wrong in themselves, we don't care. We just bring in the reason to support them, right? This is what Sri Aurobindo is pointing out here. Okay, it is a sin. There is no right or justice in mutual slaughter. Especially are those who are to be slain, the natural objects of reverence and of love, those without whom one would not care to live, and to violate these sacred feelings can be no virtue, can be nothing but a heinous crime. Granted that the offense, the aggression, the first sin, the crimes of greed and selfish passion which have brought things to such a pass came from the other side, yet armed resistance to wrong under such circumstances would be itself a sin and crime worse than theirs, because they are blinded by passion and unconscious of guilt, while on this side, it would be with a clear sense of guilt that the sin would be committed. So he's even having this superiority in his mind right now, कि भाई, I am having the moral sense that I should not do it. They are not having. So कहीं ना कहीं even that pride is there, which is, bringing in all this, why he's giving the argument and the reason not to fight. They don't know dharma, but at least I know. How can I knowingly do this? उनको तो पता ही नहीं, वो तो है ही अज्ञानी, वो तो है ही अधर्मी, but मैं तो धर्म वाला हूं. How can I do this? Right? Yeah. And for what? For the maintenance of family morality, of the social law and the law of the nation. These are the very standards that will be destroyed by the civil war. The family itself will be brought to the point of annihilation. Corruption of morals. Corruption of morals ke liye the word that is used in Varna Sankara. Because there are no men to protect the women. Then basically whoever wants, they can, corrupt the women of the family, and then the whole race gets corrupted. The whole nation gets corrupted, right? Corruption of morals, loss of the purity of the race. Loss of the purity of the race. For that, the word in the Gita is Varna Sankar, first chapter. Okay. Will be engendered, verses. The eternal laws of the race and moral law of the family will be destroyed. Ruin of the race, the collapse of its high traditions, ethical degradation, and hell. Narake niyatam vaso bhavati ityanushushtruma. They will live perennially in hell. This kind of idea. For the authors of such a crime, उसको उस बात का भी डर है कि हाय मुझे तो नरक में रहना पड़ेगा. So it's bringing in all the elements. It starts by a physical crisis and then emotional, but now, he's scared of even having to go to hell because he's doing such a great papa, according to him. Right? So ये उसके अंदर एक वो initially एक selfless और एक dharma और moral angle, but slowly, even the personal and the selfish angle is also coming in his argument. All right? कि मेरा क्या होगा? मेरी तो दुर्गति हो जाएगी, मैं तो नरक में चला जाऊंगा, right? Something very human, obviously. So, authors of such a crime, these are the only practical results possible of this monstrous civil strife. Therefore, cries Arjuna, casting down the divine bow, Gandiva, an inexhaustible quiver, Akshay Tunir, given to him by the gods for that tremendous hour. When he goes to Svarga, wahan milta hai. Yeah, I think that is where it is given to him in that Agyatwas period, Agyatwas ke just pehle, 12 years mein. It is more for my welfare that the sons of Dhritarashtra should slay me unarmed and unresisting. I will not fight. Nayotsya iti Govindam, he says. And here I have just made it one by that Shivaji was given the sword, jo mujhe tha na, in modern times. You know, it's not that these kind of things were happening only in the times of Arjuna. It is said that it is Bhavani herself who gave the sword to Shivaji. So it's not just Arjuna who got the Gandiva and the Akshay Tunir from the Devaloka. Those who are deserving, I mean, that's the legend that Shivaji got his sword from Bhavani herself. Right? So this was one example. 1.45 and 1.46 are there for those verses. 1.35 also. Inexhaustible quiver, they might kill me, it is better. Unarmed and all. Now, it's already, we have reached the time limit for this session. But if people want, just these verses where it is said, pura uska jo sara dilemma and all is there, it is the second half of the first chapter basically, around 20 verses or so. If we want, then I can recite this. Agar screen pe one by one karenge, it will take time and some people may not be able to even do it. Right? So, should we close or should I just recite those verses and close the session? What should we do? It starts from 1.28 and it goes up to 1.46. So 19 verses. It will take around 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. No? So shall we close then
No,
with
you can
silence?
recite it.
I shall recite? All right. All right. So can I allow somebody else to share the screen so that Shweta can do it maybe? Multiple participants can share screen simultaneously. Okay. Shweta, are you there?
Yes, Bhaiya.
So 1.28 say, can you start displaying on the screen?
1.28.
Yeah, मैं करता हूँ. Let me try.
नहीं, I can do it.
Not opening. Just 1 second.
I've opened it, Bhaiya. One.
So can you share your screen?
Yes. Will you stop sharing, Bhaiya?
Yes.
Can everyone see?
Yes, now. Drishtve Arjuna uvacha, Drishtve svajanam Krishna, Yuyutsum samupasthitam, Sidanti mama gatrani, Mukham cha parishusyati. Ve pathuscha sharire me, Roma harshascha jayate, Gandivam sramsate hastat, Tvakchaiva paridahyate. Nacha, next one. Nacha shaknom yavasthatum bhramati vacha me manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava nacha shreyonu pashyami hatva svajanamahave nakangshe vijayam krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha kimno rajyena govinda kim bhogair jivitena va yeshamarthe kangshitam no rajyam bhoga sukhani cha ta ime vasthita yuddhe pranam styaktva dhanani cha acharyaah pitarah putras tathaiva cha pitamahah matulah shvashurah pautrah syalah sambandhinas tatha etan nahantum ichchami gnatopi madhusudana api trailokya rajyasya hetoh kim nu mahi krite nihatya dhartarashtrannah ka priti syat janardana पापमेवा श्रये दस्मान हत्वैताना ततायिनः तस्मान नार्हा वयम हंतुम धार्तराष्ट्रान स्वबांधवान स्वजनम ही कथम हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्यप्येते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षय कृतं दोषम मित्रद्रोहे च पातकं कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन। कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत। अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसंकरः। संकरो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः। दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानां वर्णसंकरकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः। उत्सन्न कुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुम। अहो बत महत्पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं यद् राज्य सुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनम् उद्यताः। यदि माम प्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्। संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः संख्ये रथोपस्थ उपाविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं शोकसंविघ्न मानसः। ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्री कृष्णार्जुन संवादे अर्जुन विषाद योगो नाम प्रथमो अध्यायः। ये इसमें लास्ट में नहीं है, डजंट मैटर। ठीक है, तो थैंक यू श्वेता फॉर दिस हेल्प।
Always welcome भैया।
नहीं, तो ठीक है, लेट्स मीट ऑन मंडे देन। ओके, चलिए विजय, विल जस्ट क्लोज विद साइलेंस, हाफ अ मिनट साइलेंस, देन वील क्लोज। हाफ अ मिनट ऑफ साइलेंस।
It's just request भैया।
Yes, tell me.
There are some new people who have joined here.
Yeah, yes,
I think Ujjwal or somebody.
Ujjal was there, yeah.
So if you
One
can,
new person. Harish was there, him I only told. He's from Hyderabad.
yeah.
And
If
yeah,
you
only
want-
other, Ujjal was the only one whom I had not known earlier.
Yeah. So Ujjwal, if you want to share your mobile number and get added in the WhatsApp group.
Ha. Ujjal ji, are you listening? Is he there? Chat में बोलें क्या?
He is there. It's okay.
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक। If you know him, then you can send him a message.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, all right. So we'll just close with half a minute of silence. Thank you everybody for your time.
Do we have the chanting session on Sunday?
Yes,
Thank you.
we
Thank
have
you,
from 9
everyone.
to 10. Most welcome, Francesca. Most welcome.
9 to 10.